Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Or if you're joining me for the first time, howdy. I'm Jack, aka Wombat Baron. I'm glad you could stop on by, and I hope you stick around. It's been a while since I've posted anything. I am going to be breaking this video up into sections, so I will get into some housekeeping stuff at the end of the video. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about this 13-hour DBD live stream that happened a few days ago now. I've been thinking about it, and there's just some stuff I've had on my mind, and I've talked to friends about it a couple of times, so here's the outline for the video. As always, I will put chapters in for easy navigation, so you can just jump around to stuff. I normally do not defend Behavior Interactive. Behavior is the reason I stopped being as obsessed with this game as I used to be. Like, this game used to be a full-on actual special interest of mine, where if I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about playing it, or I was reading stuff about it. I did all of the player surveys, the whole nine. And that kind of hasn't been the case for a long time. I often go really long stretches of time now without playing. As you can probably tell from my gameplay that is playing during this video, I'm rusty. I am rusty. But here we go. First, I wanted to talk about my experience with the live stream, how I felt about it, all of that. I was hanging out on the 21st, kind of recovering from the previous day, which was my birthday. I went out to lunch with a friend of mine, which again, I'll get more into it in the housekeeping stuff, but anytime I leave the house for any length of time now, um, I have to have a day to recover from pain and aches and all of that. So I saw that there was going to be an announcement or something on the 22nd with the no peeking thing, and I thought that it was probably just going to be either another trailer or something the next morning on the 22nd. So I was confused when around 1 p.m. I went to look and saw that they were advertising something at 9 p.m. I was like, oh, that's kind of late. I was going to set an alarm for it, completely forgot to set the alarm. Later on, I was just relaxing. I got some food. I was hanging out, just trying to be as mellow as possible. And then 12 past 9, I remembered, and I was like, oh shit, I hope I didn't miss whatever that was. Only to see it was a live stream, and I was a little bit confused about that. But I put the stream on my TV, and I put Scott Junn's stream on my phone. And also about Scott Junn, just so I'm not mentioning him every 5 seconds, just know that basically everything he said, I agreed with, and a lot of what I say is going to mirror stuff that he said. So if I say something that sounds like that, that's why. So I'm not like, yeah, and like he said too, because yeah, like just know that we are very much aligned in how we think about all of this. But anyway, I digress. So I thought, like a lot of other people, that it was probably going to be announced or whatever at midnight because of the 00:00 in the title. But then when it wasn't, I figured it's probably going to be a 13-hour stream. Just like everybody else was like, oh, they're probably going in on the 13s still, which more on that later, but yeah. Shortly after Jund ended his stream, I decided to go to bed. I stayed up a little bit longer. The last of the events in the stream that I saw before I muted the TV was because I kept it on all night. So this way it would be the first thing I saw when I woke up in the morning so I could see what, if anything, changed. But the last event that I was awake for was the dog sniffing around and crying. And then when I woke up the next morning, because I made sure to wake up early so I could catch the end of it, the first event that I saw was it was the entity, like the tendrils and stuff, but I had just woken up and I kind of glanced at it real quick. So I thought it was like the mind flayer from Stranger Things, and I had a thought of, oh, maybe they're doing this thing where they are kind of going through their 10 years and like where they've been and where they gone or whatever, and because I obviously didn't see any of the other events. But that morning I put a Starvis stream on my phone to watch with him and his chat. And yeah, it was, to me, it was a lot of fun, and I liked doing that. I thought it was really cool to kind of have like the big thing and then have commentary on in the background. And, you know, I do hope that they do more stuff like this in the future. I really love when they do something kind of new, or, or new for them anyway. But I loved the way that they did it. I just think that there are things that could have been done better. Like, I agree with everyone who says that they shouldn't have announced that they were doing a live stream. It should have just been like sort of shadow dropped on us and have us all scramble like, what was this about, and find it on our own. I feel like that would have kind of mitigated uh the amount of people who felt like it was a waste of time, which more on that in a minute. And also I feel like the title might have been a little bit too cryptic for their own good. I don't, if you know, if this was like another code that's going way over my head, let me know in the comments. But again, with that 0000 thing, I feel like it was a little bit too cryptic. But yeah, I also felt like, okay, I could be wrong about this. I probably am wrong about this. And again, if anybody actually like knows this for sure, let me know. But it felt like more stuff happened at the start of the stream and then sort of petered out and was stretched out a little bit further as it went. But if it wasn't, was there another like formula to it, like every this length of time or something like that? But yeah, one of the other things I wanted to touch upon before I get into the next part of this video is I saw the king, I saw his video talking about it, and he had this really cool theory. I don't know if he's right or not, but either way, it's a cool theory where, that this all took place in the entity's realm and we were kind of just witnessing moments of stuff that happen in there from the perspective of somebody in the realm. But yeah, that was my experience with it. And yeah, I really liked it actually. Although I did see a lot of people also enjoyed it, there were really four types of responses I want to address, but the fourth one is getting its own section here. The first is behavior wasted my time. The second is they disrespected us with this. The third is people should be fired over this. Okay. It's okay to be disappointed with the stream. It's okay to think that they didn't handle this well. It's okay to be a little bit frustrated if you wanted to stay through the stream and you couldn't. That's super, super valid. I get you. However, firstly, nobody forced you to watch the stream. It also would have cost you nothing to just catch the trailer or see a VOD of the end of the stream in the morning. It's not like Behavior sent the Black Veil to come tie you to a chair and force you to watch it. I am an insomniac, and I have an especially hard time getting to sleep lately, and it was my choice to stay up for a little longer than intended. And it was also my choice to get up early after barely sleeping during the night to see the reveal. Or I have a better example. I'm a huge fan of the Scream franchise, but I hated Scream 5, and I know from the direction that it went, as well as the things that I've heard about the last two, I don't want to get into it. The new ones are not for me, and I never want to see another Scream movie ever, as long as these people are at the helm now. If I chose one day to sit down and watch either of the last two, the filmmakers didn't waste my time. I sat there through 5. I know what the new ones are like. And yet I made the decision to sit down and watch it. I wasted my own time. If you sat down and watched a bit of the stream and you felt it was boring, or you didn't, you didn't like that hardly anything was happening or whatever, and you still chose to sit there through a large chunk of it, you wasted your own time. That was not a waste of time. Like, behavior did not waste your time. You can say it was a waste of time, but to say that behavior wasted your time is kind of ridiculous. The next thing is the whole "they disrespected us" thing. There, there are so many better examples of behavior disrespecting us as a player base. Just a couple of examples are like the new Attack on Titan skin for Trapper that had been in mobile as a gacha thing. There are several skins that are essentially just recolors, and all of them are being sold for like the price of a legendary. I don't know what the fuck they changed the names of all of this stuff to. I don't care. I'm still gonna call it legendary. Like, all of them are the same price, and they are all incredibly expensive for skins in this game. And on top of that, they don't even have a special Mori. So you are spending a whole ton of money on essentially the same skin that is just a different color, if you want more than just one of them. But then there is also, speaking of skins, cosmetics, and all of that, there's also the fact that DBD added the FOMO to, rather behavior added FOMO to DBD in the form of the seasonal cosmetic thing. And yes, I'm still talking about this. I can never be convinced that enough people said on the player survey that they'd be cool with it for them to actually implement it. I actually have, I want to make that point in a different video, talking about my overall experience with DBD and how I feel about it and everything at some other point. So I'm not going to get into it here, but there is no way that, just from the really angry response to the seasonal shit being added as well, there is no way that a lot of people were like, oh yeah, no, this would be cool, this is a good idea, for them to actually do it. But they did it anyway. Despite the fact that there are still people like myself who hate it and wish that they would just go back to the way that it was. The last example I could think of off the top of my head, and this one is the most egregious in the list, which is why I left it for last. The whole not informing us about the Hellraiser NFTs until people already bought Pinhead. There are loads of people who are vehemently against NFTs who went and bought Pinhead only to find out after the fact that they put money into this thing that they were strongly opposed. And we didn't know about it. We didn't know about it until a little bit after. I forget the actual length of time, but it had been available for purchase and had already been bought by loads of people, only for them to find out, like, oh hey, by the way, your money is going towards this company that does these NFTs. Isn't that great? That is so disrespectful. And this live stream does not come close to anything that I've listed right now, but especially not the NFTs. How are you going to sit there with a straight face and tell me that this live stream was disrespectful when we have actual evidence of disrespect before? This does not even come close. The last thing I want to talk about in this section, and it's the worst one, and it's the one that gets me kind of heated, is when people say someone needs to be fired over this. I really hope that the people who are saying this are like 13 years old. I didn't mean to pull 13. I don't know. I swear that wasn't intentional. But like, I swear that, like, if you're not a child, what's wrong with you? Truly. It's no secret that the gaming industry is one of the worst for jobs, and there's no such thing as job security. I have a couple of friends that work in the gaming industry. It is rough. Behavior themselves laid off a ton of people before the last year's anniversary, where people were saying things like, isn't it sad that some of these people that are coming up in the load screens with their quotes might not even be there anymore? If you really think that someone should lose their job and therefore the ability to take care of themselves and their families just because you were a little bit disappointed or didn't like the way that they chose to do the stream, grow up. Seriously, grow up. What is wrong with you? If you actually strongly believe that, what the hell, man? Like, no. At the end of the day, it's just a video game. It's not that deep. Again, the black veil isn't coming for you if you didn't like it, and you didn't have to pay for this or really lose anything for choosing to participate or not to participate. People don't deserve not to eat or have a roof over their heads just because you expected something else and it wasn't what you decided it should be. Which brings us to the next part. So, as I've said a few times now, it's fine if you were disappointed and wanted it to be a different character or something, but this section specifically, I'm going to address one post I saw in particular that was utterly ridiculous, but also a sentiment I saw for other characters, not just this one. However, if you see this post, I think it's been deleted. I do, because I went back to try to find it to see if, because it turned into a little bit of an argument and I wanted to see what else was said after I saw it, but I think it's been deleted. But if you find this post, or if you know who I'm referring to or something, please don't go find them. Don't harass this person. That is super shitty. And again, this is not that deep, and that's not the kind of viewer base I want to cultivate here. There are two reasons I'm choosing this one. I already said one, that this was one of the most ridiculous things I saw, but also I am a little bit more qualified to speak on this than, let's say, Pennywise. Personally, I find Jason kind of boring as a character. I find him kind of boring. I respect him as an icon and a legend in horror, and I think it's cool that he's finally coming to the fog, but and I have seen stuff from the PTB. Very cautiously, I'm saying it seems promising. I'm hoping I'm gonna be playing the PTB a little bit later myself, but I'm sort of, or I was at least, sort of neutral about him coming to the game. But whereas I think it's fun to try to decipher the codes and come up with theories and try to look for clues and stuff, me personally, there was never a point in time when I thought it would be anyone but Jason. Because they were so heavy-handed with the 13s literally everywhere that they basically told us it was Jason from jump. The last time that they were this transparent with a killer. It was when they accidentally put Ghostface into a PTB earlier than he was supposed to be. And funny enough, again, when the official DBD Twitter account leaked the image of Ghosty's cosmetics for Tome 13. Which, as an aside, I kind of love that, though, because it's like, that's very in character for Danny. Like, no, I'll just announce myself. And again, like, I do see some of what people were pointing out for both Pennywise and Slender Man or Marble Hornets or whatever, but I'm not trying to make fun of people who thought that it was either of them. I'm just saying that from my perspective, I thought it was pretty obvious from the start that it was going to be Jason. I even had a moment during the live stream where I got a little bit too amped about something and then had to calm myself down and be like, no, it's Jason. You know, it's Jason. Just, which I'll get to. But there were some people who drew their own conclusions, regardless of what the character or IP that they wanted was, and then got super fucking heated talking about how behavior misled them because they were doing their best impression of Fox Mulder and they just wanted to believe. The post in question that I saw was specifically about Slenderman, but particularly Marble Hornets. And this person got so vitriolic towards behavior about it not being Marble Hornets because according to them, quote, all the clues, end quote, pointed towards that. They talked about the woods, about a hornet's nest or something in a tree in one of their photos, or it was actually one of the videos that they posted during the night, and the distortions and stuff like that. But like, okay. You will be hard-pressed to find someone that is a bigger Marble Hornets fan than I am. I'm not saying that they don't exist. Like, there's Nick Nocturne who did the whole breakdown for Nightmind and stuff. He very likely, I concede that he probably knows even more about Marble Hornets than I do, even though that is rare. I am just saying that I have not met nor seen very many people who could make the claim that they are a bigger Marble Hornets fan than I am. Like, I know the most insignificant little details about the series. I spent literally a fucking decade tracking down the kind of hoodie that Alex Crayley wears, and I have only worn it once because I am so worried that I will ruin it somehow. I've been collecting the makeshift plushies. I don't have the comic series yet, but I'm really hoping I can do that soon. It's a series involving Jessica in sort of the other world, and it seems really cool. I once spent 4 hours and 15 minutes drunkenly talking about Marble Hornets on a podcast, and I will put the link to that in the description. But yeah, like you get the point. There was never a point in time where I thought it was going to be Marble Hornets or Slender Man or anything. I saw all of the same evidence, and the thing that I got a little too hyped for was when it did the distortion thing. I had a brief moment of, wait, maybe, only to kind of make myself crash down to earth and be like, no, you know it's Jason. Those 13s were obnoxiously everywhere. It's not going to be anything else. But yeah, like as a super fan, I saw all of the things that people said, and I found that it was kind of weak, even if it was a red herring. And I'm not saying that they did do any red herrings because I don't actually know, but even if it was a red herring, it was kind of a weak one because they had been doing the 13 everywhere. Also, that hornet's nest that the person brought up, and that a couple of people I saw brought up, it wasn't even a hornet's nest. It was a burrow in a tree. The woods also apply to Jason. The only thing that I can say might have pointed to Slender Man or Hornets were the distortion thing that they did that I mentioned before, and the found footage style videos that they were posting during the night. I think those are actually the strongest pieces of evidence against Jason, but that's kind of it. So no, all the clues did not point either to either the character or the series. To me, it always pointed towards Jason, at least towards Jason the most out of everything else that we could have had. And again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with hoping for something. And I myself have been saying for a couple of years at least that I'd love to have a Marble Hornets chapter. And there's nothing wrong with looking at the evidence presented and drawing your own conclusions. That's kind of part of what they were doing here. That's part of the fun, regardless of whatever the outcome might be. But it's truly wild to come to a conclusion and then get angry that you were wrong about it because of your disappointment. And it's even more wild to spit venom at behavior because you were disappointed that you drew the wrong conclusion as though they misled you somehow. Like, literally, it was oops all 13. That was... The 13s were everywhere. And the last thing I want to say in this section is, again, I am a massive Marble Hornets fan. My love for Hornets is undying, to the point where this video actually got a little bit more delayed than I wanted because I was talking to a friend of mine, my friend that's actually playing with me in the gameplay footage you're seeing. I was talking to her about this, and she mentioned she had never seen Marble Hornets and that she wouldn't mind watching it. And we literally dropped everything to watch Marble Hornets when I was going to record this that night. So I fucking love Hornets. However, saying this as a huge super fan of Marble Hornets in particular, though maybe not so much Slender Man, but Hornets in particular, neither Slender Man nor Marble Hornets would be big enough for the 10th anniversary. Like, yeah, Slender Man and Hornets both are iconic in their own right. Both have huge followings and like a rabid fan base and all of that. And I'm not saying that it would be a small feat to get it into the game, but this is the 10th anniversary. It had to be somebody like Jason or Pennywise or the killer I want in this game the most, Daniel Robitaille. Like, it would have to be a legend, not just an icon, a legend of horror. So what should be the takeaway here? Uh, to reiterate what I've said multiple times now, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to want something different. It's okay to be a little frustrated that they did a really long stream that might not have lined up very well with your particular time zone. I got lucky in the sense that I, too, am Eastern time. However, as I said before, this is just a video game. They didn't do anything nefarious or worthy of the anger and vitriol that some people gave them for this. They didn't waste your time, they didn't disrespect you, they didn't mislead you, and above all, nobody deserves to be out of work for this. Nothing about this is remotely that serious, and if you feel it is, I really hope that you take a step back and think on that and try to figure out why you think it's that serious. This is the kind of thing that made me stop engaging with fan spaces for stuff that I love, and that kinda sucks. I saw a post once years ago that said every fandom, even the most wholesome ones, has a toxic part, and if you think yours doesn't, you might be a part of that group. And DBD is shockingly not the worst fan space that I've ever seen, but it's not that great. And sometimes, sometimes, that's not actually behavior's fault. And I also wanted to briefly mention that, like, because I know that there will be some people who don't understand how this works, who then get further mad at them. VODs on YouTube, for anything longer than 12 hours, it only saves roughly 12 hours of the stream. I don't know why it saved a little bit less than that for this, but that's not on behavior either. They didn't purposefully take out the end of the stream or anything like that, just in case anybody there doesn't know how that works. But yeah, it was really nice to see some other streamers' reactions to the reveal too the next day. My personal favorite was Die Hard Diva. Her unbridled excitement was filled me with such joy. I was smiling real big. Like, even though I personally think Jason is kind of a boring character, I'm so happy for the people who have been asking for this for a decade. Like, that's so cool. And I just wish more people would just be like, "Oh man, I'm happy for you." Especially because in that video that I mentioned before of Kings, he mentioned that there were people in the Jason camp that were dunking on people who wanted Slenderman or Pennywise, but Slenderman in particular. And it's like, you don't have to give somebody a paper cut and rub lemon juice in it. You don't. You don't have to be a sore winner. You don't have to be a sore loser. Like, you can just be happy for who got the thing that they wanted really bad. I know that that's a wild and novel concept, but I promise you that is a thing that you can do. You can be happy for somebody else while also be disappointed for yourself. But yeah, I had fun with this. I really hope that they do more of this kind of stuff. But also, I mean, I once watched a 24-hour live stream of a billboard, not in its entirety, but in chunks of hours at a time, just to see when smoke would rise up out of the back of it to welcome a new character. If you know, you know. So 13 hours was not that big a deal for me, I guess. But yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, this is not for me, and clicking off and just catching up after the fact. I know that we live in a very FOMO-centric world now, but yeah, like, it's okay to step away from stuff, and especially if it's not for you. That's pretty much it on that. I appreciate it if you stuck around this long. If you did, comment with a hockey stick emoji and join me in welcoming Jason to the fog. After seeing the preview, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm gonna wait to really form my opinions until I get to play the PTB again, hopefully later today. So, yeah. If this is where you leave me, I will see you soon. Okay, some housekeeping stuff now. If you stuck around for this, thank you, sincerely. It means a lot that you give a damn about what's going on with me. So basically, the reason I've been pretty silent on here is, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm currently dealing with an injury. I might have brought it up in a previous video, one of my more recent ones, I don't remember, but, the injury is worse than, we had initially thought, and I actually might need surgery at some point, which that was always a possibility, but it's a little bit more of a possibility now. And yeah, I've just been dealing with a lot of medical stuff and a lot of other things surrounding this injury, and that's kind of that, and the insomnia I mentioned before too. My insomnia has been way worse than usual. So between all of the stuff that I have to take care of and be on top of, and also, like, the pain that I'm dealing with this and the insomnia, like, I've my motivation for stuff has kind of tanked. Like, as of, for instance, like my friend Kat that I mention on here a lot bought me Red Dead Redemption 2 because he was like, while you're cooped up and can't really do anything, play this game. And I love it. I do. But I also haven't really touched it. And I'm still in chapter 2, but that's also because I'm kind of taking my time with it, yes, but also I know what happens to certain characters, and I'm trying to prolong the inevitable. But yeah, like I haven't even really played games or hung out with people a lot, and I'm trying to get better with that. Um like the other night I played with Doe, which is why you're seeing uh all the gameplay footage and everything, but yeah, it's all been really hard, and I've been trying to get back into things that bring me joy and that I like to do, including making videos and stuff. So I am hoping that I can get back to it sometime soon. I've got some ideas for some videos with friends. I have a video that I still have to edit that my friends and I recorded a year ago, and I really still want to post that because it was a lot of fun and made us laugh riotously throughout the whole thing. But yeah, like I just it's been a rough go of it. But I just wanted to say again that I appreciate everybody who watched this video, and especially this long. I my channel's not even a baby channel. My channel might as well be the Sync Fetus from PT. um that's a wild comment, Jack. But yeah, like you know what? If you watched to the end of this, along with the hockey stick emoji, put a blue heart so I know that you made it this far. I really, really hate reminding people to like, comment, and subscribe. Um I hate saying that. Which is why I always say remember to do all the stuff, but I kind of don't even like doing that. It's just that it really helps, and like I said, my channel is very small, so that does help with engagement and stuff, and I just really appreciate anybody who watches my stuff and everything. But yeah, it's been a time. All right. With all of that, I will see you when I see you. I hope all is well. Please remember to take care of yourselves. Bye bye.